All right, so as we look at this hazards map, we can see that since we live in New Jersey, we're in this light blue section right here, which shows that we are really, really prone to hurricanes. In New Jersey, we all know that we can experience other types of disasters. We might not have tsunamis, but that's definitely a disaster that can happen. We might not have volcanoes too, but it's something that also still happens. You'll see in the dark blue, they do experience earthquakes and wildfires. In California, in that red section, they experience wildfires. We have tornadoes, which is definitely a natural disaster, which can happen from hurricanes. In the green, they experience tornadoes and earthquakes. Again, you can see, being in the East Coast, we definitely do experience hurricanes. And in the light blue, we do experience tornadoes and hurricanes, okay? So today, since we are currently in hurricane season, which is from June to November, we at the Red Cross thought it was really important for you to learn about hurricanes. So you'll see that right over here, being in the Atlantic Ocean, that's typically where hurricanes form for us here in New Jersey. So, with a show of hands, how many of you have seen a satellite picture of what a hurricane may look like? Fantastic, absolutely right. So, what does a hurricane look like? Does anybody know? That's right. All right. So, hurricanes are big spiral-like storms that form over the ocean. Okay, so they're really, really big circular storms. And the best way I like to describe it, it's kind of like whipped cream, right? So say if you take a whipped cream bottle and you go around and around and around, that's kind of what a hurricane looks like, right? So they're very, very big storms. So we know that hurricanes are storms. What kind of things do storms typically bring? That's fantastic. You're absolutely right. Storms bring a lot of wind and a lot of heavy rain. And those are things that we can absolutely experience, and we do experience with hurricanes. During hurricanes, though, the wind is actually so strong that if you see a car driving down a highway, it's strong just like that, and it's moving just as quick, which is 75 miles an hour or more. So that's a lot of wind, okay? So there's something else that a hurricane will bring, okay? So since hurricanes form in the ocean, okay, so in New Jersey they form in the Atlantic Ocean, but depending on where you live, they might form somewhere else, like the Gulf of Mexico. It could happen in the Pacific Ocean, but since in New Jersey they do form over the Atlantic Ocean, these storms move the ocean water into New Jersey, okay, and they push all this water into land that is typically dry, okay. So this water kind of causes something we know as a flood, but it also has a special term, which is a storm surge. Can you repeat after me? Storm surge. Okay, so it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a storm that moves and surges onto dry land. Okay, this could be very, very dangerous. It can wash away roads and buildings. So this is something that's very, very dangerous. Does anyone know what forecasters do with these satellite pictures they see of these big spiral-like hurricanes? All right, fantastic. So forecasters track when hurricanes appear. So these can be from miles and miles away, and this will determine how big a hurricane is, how far away it is, and where it will land, okay? So these weather forecasters are tracking this, and they actually fly a plane through this, they call the eye of the hurricane. And this is a very, very calm spot in the hurricane, okay? So they're tracking the movement of the hurricane, where it will go, and how big it will be, okay? So when forecasters think a hurricane might happen and it might affect your area, this is called a hurricane watch, okay? And this is the time that you should really be getting prepared, all right? So when we talk about a warning and being prepared, I kind of like to think of it as a snow day, okay? You might see that the snow is coming into your area, but does that mean you're going to stay home from school? No, right? You're going to get prepared, you're going to get ready, and if something does happen, this is when you stay home from school. So right now we're just watching. We're watching that the hurricane is happening and we're getting prepared. So what are some things you're going to do to be prepared for hurricanes? All right, absolutely. So some things you're going to do to be prepared that we do at the American Red Cross is because these hurricanes bring lots and lots of wind, you're going to want to bring things in from outside that might get blown away, right? So maybe your patio chairs, maybe some toys that are outside, anything that can get blown away, you're going to bring from the outside and bring it inside, okay? And that includes pets, maybe your little brother or sister, all right? So you're going to bring all those things in from outside. Something else you might want to do, I know I like to do this, is during hurricanes, roads may be closed and electricity might go out. So something you definitely want to do is go to the store and get things that you're going to need for if you can't leave for a day or two, okay? Because that's typically how long hurricanes last. So you're going to want to get maybe some foods that don't go bad, right? So maybe definitely lots of water. Say if the electricity goes out, you're going to want to get food that doesn't need a refrigerator. So maybe things like granola bars and just things that don't go bad. Maybe some fruit, things like that. During this time when we're in this preparedness stage, we're maybe going to want to get our pillowcase ready, right? So we're going to prepare our pillowcase for things and that if you have to evacuate, so go from an unsafe place to a safe place, you got everything right in your pillowcase, okay? Something else you might want to do during this time is know your evacuation route. So in school, there's always a sign by your door that says if there's a fire drill, how to get out of the home, how to get out of the school. We're going to want to do something very similar. Each community has their own evacuation route, so you're going to want to see what this route is. So during a watch, this is when you're getting prepared. This is the perfect time to figure out what your evacuation route is, okay? And probably the number one thing you're going to want to do is watch the news, right? So you don't know if a hurricane's going to happen or not unless you do this, watching the news, listening to the radio. So we're going to watch the news. So say if we're watching the news and we're all prepared, we have our pillowcase ready, we have our food ready, and we see that a hurricane is definitely going to hit. It's coming to New Jersey, okay? We are now in that warning stage. So we're going to take action, okay? So the hurricane is definitely coming. So what are some things you're going to want to do? Absolutely. So some things you're going to definitely want to do is stay inside. We do not want you to go outside, okay? So being inside is the safest place you can be. I know hurricanes can be interesting to watch. Storms, we all like to watch storms, right? But hurricanes, because of this high wind, it can blow things into the window, okay? So we don't want you to get hurt. So if that glass breaks, we want you to take a step back, and if you want to watch it, stay away from glass windows and glass doors, okay? And the most important thing, if an official tells you to evacuate, we want you to evacuate, okay? This is where knowing your evacuation route is really important. So you can take your supplies, you can take your pillowcase, and you can go to a safe place, okay? Whether it be a friend's or family's home or a Red Cross shelter, which is not a bad place to be because there's folks like myself and other really nice people, but we definitely want you to evacuate, okay? Do we have any questions? All right, so I actually have a question for you. So when the hurricane is over, what should we do? Like, what do we do? So we're gonna wanna clean up, right? So maybe there are some people that aren't as prepared as you and they don't know what to do. So you might go home and you might see stuff in your backyard, maybe like somebody's patio furniture or your friend's baseball. We're definitely going to want to clean up after a hurricane, but it's really important that you be careful. There might be sharp objects like a window breaking or a down power line, so you're definitely going to want to be safe while you're cleaning up after a hurricane, okay? So, we learned a little bit about hurricanes. Now we have to practice, okay? So we are going to play a little game. It's kind of like Simon Says. All right, so I am going to hold up some signs that are both for a watch and a warning, so being prepared or taking action. And if it's a watch, I want you to go like this because you're doing a watch for it. But if it's a warning, I want you to raise your hands in the air, okay? So, what do you do when you bring things that might get blown away? Is that a watch or a warning? Absolutely. That's a watch, right? All right. Grab your household emergency supplies kit. Is that a watch or a warning? That's a warning. Perfect. You guys are doing great. All right. Listen for news about evacuating. What do you guys think that is? A watch or a warning? Right? Absolutely. That's a watch. You're definitely going to watch the news, listen to the radio, and see if there's anything about evacuating. Get out fast if you are told to evacuate. What do you think that is? Absolutely, that's a warning. Fantastic. Listen for news about the hurricane. What do you think that is? Is that a watch or a warning? Okay, what do you guys think that is? It's a watch. Absolutely. All right, stay away from windows and glass doors. So what is that? Is that being prepared or is that taking action? Is that a watch or a warning? Absolutely, that is a warning. All right, gather emergency supplies. Is that something you do to get prepared or take action? What do you guys think, a watch or a warning? Absolutely, that's a watch. All right, stay inside until the hurricane goes away. Is that a watch or a warning? What do you think? Absolutely, that's a warning. All right, and last but not least, pack your pillowcase kit. Is that a watch or a warning? Absolutely, that's a watch. That's when you get prepared. All right, so we talk about learn, practice, and sharing. So the last thing we need to do is share what you learned. We want you to take what you learned here today about hurricanes and teach your friends, your family, your aunts, and your uncles, okay? So I had to share this last summer. So I actually had a cousin come in from California, all right? His name was Marcus. And he really wasn't used to hurricanes. I mean, we could see on the map, we saw that he definitely had other different types of hazards in his area, but he didn't really know how to be prepared for hurricanes. So he was a little bit scared on what will happen. So I've been talking him through it. I've been telling him how to be prepared, and I was actually able to teach him and get him prepared with something that the Red Cross taught me, which is a coping skill. Okay, so coping skill, what do you guys think a coping skill is? Absolutely. So it's something you do when you're feeling scared or frightened that makes you feel better. So I taught him a coping skill, okay? Okay, so I'm so happy we were able to teach you hurricanes. I hope that you are all able to be more prepared. You learned something. And again, the last part of this is taking what you learned here today and teaching somebody else so they can be prepared too.